Okay, guys, so welcome everyone. It's great to see all of you here. And this webinar has been organized by the Weekly Fasting Group, which is a very big international group. We operate on WhatsApp, where we cultivate the habit of abstinence from food for at least 24 hours every week on a consistent basis. That's the uniting point of this group. And in between, we also discuss many interesting subjects related to healing, spirituality, lifestyle, and other things. And today we have with us Kasia again. So welcome, Kasia. Namaste.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for being able to co-create this wonderful experience together.
Thank you so much. And we also have Karen, who will be hosting Kasia tonight. So Karen, welcome.
Thank you, Arik. It's lovely to be here again and have the opportunity to host and give you a rest.
Thank you so much. Anyway, I am here in case you need any help or anything like that. Okay, guys, and I just want to tell you guys that if you watch this video later on YouTube, and if those ideas appeal to you, such as fasting, abstinence from food once a week, things like that, you will find my WhatsApp number below this video. And you're welcome to send me a message with your name, and I will happily add you to this group. And you will have lots of fun gaining this group spirit in your fasting process. So, okay, Karen. So over to you. You lead this evening, and if you need any help, I'm here.
Lovely. Thanks, Arik. Okay, so I'm going to introduce Kasia again, just for the benefit of the video. And if people pick up the video and they didn't see the first meeting with Kasia. So just to introduce her, she's supports health and spiritual seekers to heal naturally and transform their lives with holistic detox, whole fresh fruits, living with the laws of nature, water fasting, and inner guidance, which is what she's going to be talking about here tonight. She is the administrator of the Pranic Living Facebook community and offers guidance and joyful transitioning into living in integrity and unity on the higher dimensional planet Earth. So with that, I'm going to introduce Kasia now, and hopefully she's going to take us into a meditation. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Karen, for this lovely introduction. And thank you for being here and just, as I mentioned, just co-create really this experience together. So before we start the inner guidance process, I would like to invite you to a very simple breathing, which we are going to basically use as a form of meditation. Breathing has been known really and used for meditation, but this time I really would like to invite you to actually experience natural, just slow and deep breathing, which is the natural way for all humans to breathe, not with any method, but simply the way that it feels natural, that it's just the way we feel. It really resonates with us. Just as we would talk or sit and do any activity, we would breathe, but very often we are not really aware of the breath. But actually, this is the most important nutrient for us. Before we drink, before we eat, before we put anything in our body, the air that we breathe is absolutely essential. We cannot live basically without being able to breathe. So I would like to invite you to take, let's maybe dedicate 10 natural, slow, deep breath. I would like you to experience this with closed eyes, because it's a lot easier to focus. And without any talking, just simply let's sit in a relaxing way so that the body is relaxed, and just bring all the awareness in our body, and just simply let's count take 10 just slow and natural deep breath, and that's all. So how long this is going to take, it's going to be probably individual for all of us, but as we do the 10 breaths, we will carry on. So let's start. Please take time. And when you are ready, you can just slowly open your eyes. So maybe just to add to this kind of breathing, that when we become aware of the breath, it can really and literally change our life in so many aspects. Probably, if not all of us, most of us experience some challenges when it comes to eating, and there are the emotions that come up when we eat. If you put that practice very often, that simple and just aware breathing, you will experience that before you start eating, and when you take even 10 simple, slow, and deep breaths, you might actually realize that you're not even hungry. When you have a few sips of water in a slow way, you will also probably notice that maybe you actually felt dehydrated but not hungry. So this is just something to mention and to explore as well. So maybe I'm not going to just dedicate this time reading, because that's a subject and topic really on it. Just to bring that to your awareness. So this webinar, we are going to dedicate to what I call inner guidance. And this particular inner guidance will be dedicated to emotions. And again, it's really about becoming aware of the emotions that we experience, that they do come up, and they do come up in certain situations. So as this is, as Arik obviously introduced, and we all know, this group is about practicing once a week at least to have the break from physical food. And also from my experience, particularly in the Holistic Detox program, it became very clear that food is very closely related to emotions, or other, I mean, they're all linked obviously directly, and there are many, many reasons. And again, when we become aware where those emotions actually are coming from to us to really communicate, it's going to help enormously to know really what is behind. I'm going to mention just a few, because this topic is huge. But I will mention just a few. Before I do this, what I'm going to suggest that maybe when I share about the emotions, I would like to invite you, all of you who are participating now live, maybe put in the chat box the emotions that you are familiar with when they come up related to when you eat. Just what you've experienced so far, because I would like to include them in the actual inner guidance process. So first I'm going to offer general guidance, and then perhaps we are going to open for anyone who is ready to experience also individual inner guidance process in a very short way, because we can't obviously dedicate a long process here, but just to give an example how it can work and how we can be supported. So what, Karen, if that's okay with you, if maybe just in a few minutes time, if you could just read just some examples, that would be fantastic. And then we would start the actual inner guidance process.
Okay.
So when it comes to emotions, they start so early in our life that we don't have actually the awareness, because we can't remember consciously that we've experienced them. They basically start literally in a moment when we first come into this world. They actually start quite often even before, why our mothers are still pregnant, because what they experience, obviously we are connected directly with that. But let's start with that very first moment when we appear here on this planet. We are basically separated from our mothers, literally just in the first moment. This is already a shock, because we should not be separated from our mothers. This is just not supportive, and it appears to us as something wrong, something that is not right. The first cry, and then when babies cry, there is a reason for that. There's this huge cry, what is going on? Why am I not with my mother? And then soon after that, again, probably if not all of us, it's probably most of us experience vaccination. This cannot be in any form supportive. I mean, no way. And then the process starts. So quite often, mothers are not able to breastfeed children. They are not with mothers all the time. Babies really should be with mothers all the time. If you notice how animals look after their babies, they literally stay with them all the time. I remember when I witnessed as probably a teenager when we had first puppies, that was in my family home. The dog was literally all the time with the puppies. She was not leaving. I mean, it was incredible. So, can you compare this now to human beings? They are being fed, maybe, looked after, changed nappies, and maybe hold for some time, but not all the time. That separation from the very first moment creates huge, huge impact on our system. And then obviously the process continues and it just adds up. So we get all kind of false identities. We create them basically. False identities. We create all kind of attachments. And then obviously addictions are being on the way as well. All the conditioning, programming from the society. This is a huge, huge burden on our system. So the topic of emotions is vast, absolutely vast. It comes up very present and very often in a very strong, powerful way when it comes to food, because they are also directly related. So it's not only the fact that most of us experienced what we call the standard traditional diet, but that diet was not supportive in any way. It's very unnatural. So, like at the moment, experiencing this global awakening and global transformation, we have the opportunity really to what we call transmute the low energy of fear into love, which is really supportive, which is the energy that we want to really thrive on. So this is the process. And becoming aware of those emotions is the first step. Like awareness in all aspects of life is just the first step really to change anything. So those are just the few I wanted. Obviously, there is so much more, but I've only just wanted to mention a few, how it everything really started. And you can only realize that if we started from the very first moment, how much we could possibly accumulate them, not being aware of them, obviously. So becoming aware is really the key. So, Karen, can I ask you, please, maybe just to read or just to mention some of the emotions that have been shared, and I will include them in the process.
Okay, so just before you go into the process, just for the benefit of obviously everybody involved, I just have a few questions so that you can actually let people know a little bit more about what the inner guidance process is all about. So the first thing is, can you describe to us what the inner guidance process is?
Wonderful. Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you. So the inner guidance process, I have been guided even with the name at some point. I've developed really over the last few years, probably mostly the 3 years, when I was just continuing really working on my emotions as well, and also supporting other people. So I started to with kind of meditation that has really developed into this practice, which I call now inner guidance. So that meditation was really focusing on aligning with the true aspect of who we really are. So it's really switching, it was switching off from the external world, leaving the mind aside, and just consciously aligning with the deep space, the profound space within us. So we call this in many different, we can call many different ways. We can call the self. We can call, the true nature. It hasn't got. There's no name really to describe it. That's simply the fact. It's indescribable. But it's that aspect that it's never changing, that it never comes, never goes. It's not just temporary and passing, it always exists because we always exist. We are the direct expression of the entire creation. And we will always be present. So it doesn't matter what happens in the external world, we always exist. Even if that physical body is going to disappear at some point, we are going to leave this physical body. When we leave this planet, we are going to still exist. So it's really aligning with that true part of who we really are, the divine self within us. So in the last few years, I have been practicing this really a lot with myself, but also in the last 2 years, mostly, supporting as well individual people, but also small groups. I've already started this last year, and this year, actually, that practice became more and more supportive for me to be able to support also other people. So it works in a wonderful way for me, supporting other people, but also I can see and witness how supportive, how simple it is, but how effective and powerful it really is. So I don't know if that explained.
I was just going to ask how it differs from meditation.
There are many different ways of meditation. So for me, it's really difficult to define what meditation is, because every one of us will define meditation in a different way. And there can be many forms. We can call something a way of even relaxing our body. we can call meditation. But this is like a conscious approach. We can really consciously approach this with the intention that we are going to align, let's say, with the self. So we are leaving this external world aside now. We are not connecting really consciously with the mind. We are not even allowing the mind to be present in that practice. So I'm going to ask at the beginning to really leave that mind aside and just consciously align with that deep, profound space within us. And then we can consciously also dedicate, we can literally communicate with the self just the way we want. We can ask for guidance. We can ask for support. We can ask for anything that we feel we require in this moment.
So it's a direct connection to our higher self, and we can ask questions, get guidance, and on a higher level. So so we're going to experience it shortly anyway, aren't we?
Absolutely, yes.
So just a little bit more, just so that we can explore what initiated your interest and curiosity into exploring the inner guidance. Where did it come from, and at what point in your life did you want a solution like the inner guidance?
Oh, that has been many years. Like, if I'm really going back, like when it started, I remember this, maybe I don't remember this as a child, because I guess my perception was probably different being a child. But then when I was growing up, probably more like, I would say, late teenage time or early 20s, definitely, there was something coming deeper from me. That was something I've never read, I've never heard from anyone. It was like I knew that was the aspect I knew. It was coming, the way I can explain it only, it was coming from deep down of me. There was this knowing that there is something vast that we have access to, but we don't know how to actually access that. There was some kind of, the way I understood at that time, it was like this huge potential that we haven't explored, that there is something really deep and big. But I felt that there has to be a way to open that. And that was the curiosity. Like, I could not stop. I could not forget about this. There was some kind of, I don't know, drive that I wanted to find out. And it just never really, I could never really just simply leave it and ignore it. I could not do this. So there was this really huge need for finding out, like, what is behind. There was this awareness, like the way probably I would explain it, there was this awareness that there is something bigger. I didn't have a clue what at that time, but I knew there was something for me to explore. So I just kept exploring, and each time I could get something, like a little step closer.
And so did you actually go to a training to learn this process?
No, this is fully developed by me. It's just my practice, as I've mentioned, probably in the last 3 years. I literally started with meditating, like going with what I would describe at that time like one of many forms of meditation. And that really developed into that over the last few years. And as I started to really align more and more, and those, what I call inner guidance, because like quite a few years ago, I don't know where that term even came from. This is probably something I've read, I guess, somewhere. I don't even know. But it was this inner wisdom. Yeah. So this is not what we call knowledge. It's just that profound inner wisdom that really comes, from that deep, profound space within. And that name, because the guidance I was receiving, and somehow the name inner guidance, that's what I was guided with. And as I mentioned, I've started to support first individual people. And then last year, it was the first time I was applying this with small groups. So that was the first experience. And this year, it's just completely like another level. So I did learn before a different practice, and this is the compassion key process. But that's more really working on the mind level, really clearing the blockages, the unhealed aspects that it's really the mind that is showing up. So it clears really on that level.
Okay. And so how has finding the process changed your life?
It's priceless. That's probably the way I can describe. I completely rely in all my aspects with no like literally 100%. Whatever decision I take, I don't even think actually of any decisions because they come to me. They come to me through the inner guidance. So the way I use that guidance for myself, like very often I don't need to even sit and just go into that process. It's just became like I would wake up in the morning and I just receive all those downloads, whatever comes, and the same during the day. Sometimes, if there's something appears, particularly from outside, and someone asks me about something or suggests or invites to, like very often, most of the time, I would feel immediately, like I would know because of the feeling. But sometimes, just to make sure I take time, I never rush really into anything, deciding not anymore. That was used to my way of many years. It was probably reacting, not responding, but that's obviously reacting from emotions. Now I take time. I don't rush really into anything. So I would just to make sure, like having 100%, I would sit sometimes and just ask for the inner guidance, and then I know. So I rely on this completely. It doesn't matter who, whatever authority in the world, I would always ask for inner guidance. And there's no exception, like literally no exception, 100%. And it just proves every single time this is the supportive way.
Okay. And because you said you've actually done a lot of work on yourself to get to this place. So how did you start?
Oh, I mean, it's a long process, really. Long process. So it's difficult to really say like one particular time. Like when it comes to maybe working, supporting the physical body, I remember that was what I shared, I think, last time in the webinar, that really started, with the moment when I became aware that I was addicted to sugar. And that was a big thing really in my life. And since then, it really started to be like a new chapter in my life. But that at the beginning, I wasn't aware so much of those emotions. That was also a process, like a very slow process. So, and again, in that process, sometimes there are sometimes certain situations that we know this was like, this opening part. And I've experienced also a few like that. But yeah, that was a long process really. So I'm talking about, about 20 years at least.
Yeah. So what did you do? Did you start by just, obviously you didn't know this process then. So how did you start recognizing the emotions, and how did you start recognizing what they were telling you? And then obviously, how did you bring in a process so that you could work through those emotions? Because you talk to me now like you don't suffer at all really. You rely on the guidance, and whenever there's anything that you need to know, you just ask your inner self. But
Yeah.
you obviously have to get to that place, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I did for several years. I was working also with, it was actually a friend. I mean, I've used different modalities over the years, but the last one before I really started to work with myself, it was actually a friend of mine who supported me also with a process which is in some way similar to the compassion key. The compassion key process is probably simpler and more effective. Definitely, this is what came from my experience. So that really, and that was a few years of work. And that helped me enormously to also work with my emotions, to clear many blocks from the past, the wounded aspects. And that developed slowly into that inner guidance process.
And
So,
can you give us an example
an example of what?
of how you work through a particular problem?
It's really recognizing the emotions. Like when the emotion come up. Uh, so this is probably the easiest way to explain that. It's really to actually share that experience again because of that practice. But when that emotion, particular emotion, comes up, we can really ask, where that emotion is coming from when we experience that emotion before. So it's really recognizing the emotion, becoming aware of that particular emotion, or addressing particular blockage, whatever we are experiencing at the moment in life. When we really ask the question, like literally stand still or sit still and become aware of our life right now, we can feel if there is something that is blocking us in life right now and it's not allowing us to experience the life that we want to really experience now. And it could be anything. It could be for someone that someone doesn't have money right now to even pay for, I don't know, simple shopping. For someone else could be something experiencing in a relationship. For someone else, it could be some kind of illness, health problems. There could be many, many reasons. So behind that situation that we are experiencing, there is something behind for us to really find out more, to identify why we are actually experiencing, because we are only creating that experience. We are actually creating everything in our life. We are the creators, whether we are conscious about that or not. So consciously or not, knowingly or unknowingly, we create everything in our life. So when we become aware why we are experiencing this in life, we have the opportunity to really work what is really behind, find the root of that. When did that actually first start? And quite often we find out that it starts very early in our in our life, quite often as early as even our childhood or even being babies. So I don't know if that explained.
Yep, it's definitely clearer. So I'm going to just, before you go into the process with us, I'm going to just ask if anybody else has got any other questions that they'd like to ask you before you go into the process with us.
Absolutely.
So if anybody has a question to ask Kasia, please ask now. No? Okay.
This is what I thought, that it might be easier first to actually share that.
Yeah, take us through the process.
And then it will be probably clearer and easier to really know more, like what it's about.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, cool. Well, then I will leave the floor to you.
So could I ask you please to read maybe the comments? So I will basically include them as much as possible, maybe not every single one, but this is going to give me a picture of the general interest.
Okay. So the emotions that have come up when we're to do with eating are comfort, that we eat for comfort, that we eat for relief, that we eat for joy. There's shame that comes up around food.
Yes.
Connection, that there's connection for eating food. Feeling alive.
Mm-hmm.
The taste sensations, obviously the stimulation of the food. The energy, which obviously again is probably similar to the stimulation. Pleasure, obviously the sheer pleasure. Satisfaction, the joy with the different flavors, and I thought flavors and textures.
Yes.
And then the other dimension, obviously, with food is the actual appreciation by others for actually having cooked a meal.
Mm-hmm.
And then distraction, food as a distraction from dealing with other things. So that's all the emotions that were posted on the group.
Great. Thank you.
You didn't read mine.
Didn't I? Sorry. Good. Far away.
Security, safety, like an
cool. Okay.
Sorry, when I wrote shame, I didn't understand the question. So it's actually to cover shame. So I eat to cover shame. It's like the opposite of.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, but we all have shame around food, definitely. More after we've
No.
eaten.
No. That's well. I did not mean that. like when I feel shame and then I eat to cover that shame. So
Okay.
I just wanted to specify that. Okay.
Yeah,
because
no,
I
cool.
didn't
Thanks,
hear the
Ellen.
question. And when I read everybody's answer, I understood that actually I wrote the opposite. Okay, thank you.
But you get that both.
Great.
Cool.
Yeah, I will include generally, but as I've mentioned, if we have the time, I'll be delighted to also maybe offer one or two individual, just short, very short processes like that as well. So may I ask you now all just to sit in a relaxed way, so your body is relaxed, maybe the way you would experience meditation as well. It would be great if you could just sit in a place where you are not distracted really by any noise or even anyone around you, because this is going to help focus. Because we would like to really take a break from the external noise around us. So please make sure that your body is relaxed, that you are sitting in a comfortable and relaxed position. Please close your eyes. And bring all your awareness in your body now. Just become aware of your body. Before we start the practice, I'm going to invite you in a similar way as you would enter maybe a temple or a yoga center, when you are often asked to take off your shoes. So for this particular practice, I'm going to ask you to just leave your mind aside. Let's maybe even express the intention that we are going to leave the mind outside, maybe in another room, because we don't want the mind to be involved in this process. So please leave with the mind all the past experiences or your memories. All identifications, all programming, everything that you have accumulated in your life. And the same about any future plans, any visions, anything you thought of doing. Please leave that aside as well. And now, take another deep, slow, relaxing breath. Focus on your heart. And ask this deep down, profound space in you, the real aspect of who you really are, the self. Ask for guidance in this process so you can experience the most supportive guidance that is available to you right now. Let's express that. Now, as you have left everything that is related to your mind, all the past, what we call past, all the memories, what we've experienced, and all future plans, you know, you have the awareness that you still exist. You know that you are here. You are aware of that space that you are right now. You are aware of all your senses. You know that you exist, but it's not your body. It's not the mind because it's outside. There is a really deep, profound space within you that is always connected with the source, with the creation. And you are the direct experience of the entire creation. It's that pure, profound awareness that is indescribable, that always exists. It's always there, always present. It never comes and goes, like mind, like thoughts, like emotions, like the clouds that we can see in the sky. This profound aspect of who you really are is always there. When we are aware, when we consciously align with that profound aspect, we are also aware of all the possibilities of who we really are. We have a direct connection to the inner wisdom. We can ask for any guidance, any support that we need in any moment of our human life experience here on this planet. To access that inner wisdom, we just need to really become aware, just switch from the external noise, just leave the mind aside and just simply align with the self. It's only that pure aspect of now. That can guide us in a very supportive way in life. What kind of emotions do you experience when it comes to food, when you start eating? Could you please now dedicate a moment and become aware of the main emotions, maybe the one emotion that comes up when you ask that question? If you experience shame, if you experience that you want to eat because you want to really feel more comfortable, if you eat because you feel in some way that you want to relax, what that emotion communicates? How do you feel when you experience that emotion? When did you first experience that emotion? It's very likely that it happened quite early in your life. It could be in your childhood. There might be even a situation, very particular situation that you experienced that brought up that particular emotion. When did you first want to feel more comfortable, more relaxed? When did you feel guilty? If you have experienced any particular situation that was probably challenging in some way, ask, what is the age? It might come up even the age when you experienced that. Quite often it was the first time. If you wanted to eat because you wanted to feel more comfortable, more relaxed, when did that first start in your life? When did you first experience the need to be more relaxed, to be more comfortable? It's very likely that it was in your childhood. How did you feel in that situation? Whatever the situation came up for you, please connect now directly with that younger version of you at that time. And ask her or him, how do they feel? What they really experienced. You can literally communicate with them right now. Perhaps you felt stressed in some way. Whatever that emotion was, please ask them, how did they feel? Please ask them what could support them to move on from that, to become free. If you could support the younger version of you right now, how would you do that? Please ask for inner guidance, to be guided, and support the younger version of you to become free from experiencing that emotion. Ask for any solution. Just in a daily life, how could support you if you implement something that it could really lead you to be free from that emotion. When you feel ready, you can integrate that younger version of your child into you. Whatever that emotion that you identify is, please become aware that this is something you've just experienced at some point. It's not really who you really are. Any emotions, they just come and go. They only pass. Whenever you feel the need for support, the need for guidance, please rely on the inner wisdom that is always available to you. The mind is a really useful tool, but only when it's needed and when it's used in the right way. But it's very limited. And it's not the guidance we want to rely on. When we are consciously aligned with the true aspect of who we really are, we have a direct access to that inner wisdom within us that can guide us and support us in the best profound possible way that is really serving us in life. You have access all the time because you always exist. It's always there available anytime you need. In that deep, profound space within you, you can rediscover the greatness of who you really are, the beauty, the inner freedom, the abundance, that it is your natural state. It's who you really are. You've only covered that pure awareness with layers of old conditioning, false identities, all kinds of attachments, opinions, concepts that are not yours. You've taken them from perhaps parents first, your family, your friends, from the school education, from the society, from media. You really accumulated them, but that's not who you are. They're not even yours. So when you become aware of all the layers that only covered the true aspect of who you really are, you need to let go, just eliminate those layers and rediscover the beauty, the greatness, the infinity of your beautiful divine self that is always shining. It's always there. Please commit to rediscover the light, the love, the freedom, the beauty, the abundance of who you really are. The beautiful, precious, divine you. Thank you. When you are ready, you can open your eyes, please. How did that feel?
For me, the experience was when you mentioned comfort, I felt when I was a baby being cuddled by my mum when she was feeding me. And then you moved on, and I can't remember what word you used now, but you used another word, and I could, I think it was uncomfortable, or one of the words that was more uncomfortable was in a family situation where everybody was there. Those were the two situations that came up for me. So, which was strange. I was very young, but I wasn't as young as a baby when I was in the arms the first time. So, yeah.
Yeah, it can be very young sometimes. Like, it's very individual what we identify. But that's great that you've identified already something.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, of course, in a group guidance is different than when we do this individually. That's why I just had the feeling that it would be great to share both, at least in a short way, because it's obviously different.
Yeah, because you specifically you would have taken those images and then dug deeper, wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
With me on an individual basis. Yeah.
On an individual basis, we have basically the opportunity to go individually. So it's really focused on that particular experience with someone. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I also wanted to share that I was able to contact the situation. I think I was around 8 years old at that point. So when I used food for comforting, it was some kind of white bread with honey or something like that. And then so I could see this situation quite vividly. And it wasn't something that was in my mind like on a daily basis. So it was, I think, as a part, it really helped me to contact it and to really see, to really connect how that situation might be connected to my relationship to food right now.
Wonderful. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. So, Arik, there is so much of it. And to be honest, after so many years of really working consciously, I'm still experiencing, discovering new. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it looks to me, it's so vast. Like,
Right.
it's so vast that it's almost like I feel sometimes like is it going to end at some point?
Yeah, I am sure probably that particular situation that I have just described is sitting on something even earlier. But for me specifically, I was able to contact that one. Probably I might have gone even earlier and contact something else. But I could see this situation quite vividly. So thank you so much.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
Okay, cool. Mhm.
Thank you.
Anyone else wants to share?
Yeah, feel free to share, briefly. It would be great to know. Anyone who is open to share.
Yeah. Karen, we have something in the chat. I think
Yeah,
people
I
just
I
prefer
saw
sharing
that.
in writing. Yeah.
Let's have a look.
Okay, so says that I'm worth it. Repeated a pattern my mother used, being bought to give love, be rewarded for my achievements, have linked food to love.
Yeah, that's very common actually. It's something very, very common. And even now, I know that many parents, obviously, I'm aware that they are not aware of that. And they actually reward children with food. And that should never be really, we should never use food for any kind of rewards, because it just creates a very unhealthy relationship with food. Like if we want to reward a child, or even ourselves, or grown-ups, we should not really use food for that. There are many ways to reward or just create something that we want to feel great, but food is not the solution, definitely, because we only add to that burden even more. Yeah. So what I'm going to mention, maybe now, I actually forgot to mention that at the beginning, but I feel that this is extremely important, and particularly as we are experiencing this in this group, when you practice that weekly abstinence from food. So that break, that abstinence from food is absolutely perfect to experience, to meet the emotions. It's literally the best way, because we invite those emotions to come up. You can be absolutely sure they are going to come up one way or another.
I
So,
would like to say something when you're finished. Yeah.
of course, yeah. So when you go for that break from physical food, you have the perfect opportunity to actually experience those emotions, to become aware, to identify them, and also follow where that emotion will take you. And then you can basically clear that emotion. So every time something is going to come up. So this is, the more you experience that, the more chance you have really free yourself, liberate from those emotions. Yeah, please do.
Oh, okay. I could say something now.
Yes, please. Yeah, absolutely. Lori, yeah?
Yes, thanks. So I just, I'm trying to figure out the emotions. Like now I'm fasting, and when you were talking about when we were younger, I'm trying to remember what was the emotion. Like I'm trying to remember when I started using food so much, because I had a food disorder my whole life. And I know that since I was very young, I was not feeling good in my body, because I felt like chubby since I was young. And my sister was tall and skinny, and I was born like short and fat. And I don't know. So then when I started using food, and it gave me such like a relief and pleasure. And I remember just thinking, all I remember was thinking when I was young, I remember thinking, oh, I feel like I died and went to heaven when I had something really good, like a chocolate cake or something like that was so good, that the taste was so good that I couldn't believe how good I felt after I ate it. Like that I just wanted more, 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 like constantly more and more. Like I just to tell you, like, so throughout my whole life, I've been going on and off the foods that taste so good, and then going on a raw food diet where I couldn't sustain it, because one bite of cooked food, if I would be on a raw food diet, and sometimes I got to the point where tomatoes tasted good to me because my taste buds would change. But if I ate one bite of cooked food, usually, then that was it. And then I couldn't go back to eating the raw foods. And I never had such pleasure with the raw foods, right? I did with cooked foods. And I'm just trying to remember, because it's been such a problem my whole life with the food. And when I don't eat, it's such a great feeling of freedom. And fasting I've done since I've been 16, 17, 18. And then I always felt like I was walking like a spiritual guru while I was fasting. Even I went to health resorts, and the feeling of not putting anything in my body and it not doing anything, like I just felt so spiritual and free and great. And I always knew that, but I kept going back to eating and eating and eating. And then it would be such a bad cycle, with my health and with the obsession and all that. So I don't know if I'm just trying to, all I know is that when I ate, I felt such a great relief and the taste was so good to me that I just kept, overeating was one of the things I just, binging and overeating my whole life because of that. So now I'm fasting, and now I still, as I'm fasting now, I feel like, okay, that's it. I'm feeling, because, I studied breatharianism now for many years, and I love the fact that I found out that I don't have to really eat. It's like the best thing for me. I always felt like I wanted a pill that I wouldn't have to eat, and I feel so good. So now I realize I don't really have to eat so much, for sure, not so much anyway. And now I'm fasting. This is my I started Wednesday night, and now I'm fasting now, and I'm really scared almost to start eating. Every time I start eating, it causes problems. And I know that I have to do it slowly and all that stuff, but I'll go into juices and I'll go into this and that. But I'm literally, if I start eating, which I have done my whole life, go back to the food, and then I'd be in trouble again. So I'm kind of like feeling so good right now. I can't tell you the difference, but then again, I'm like wanting to stay not eating. Like I'm hoping to stay on just liquids, but I don't know. I haven't been successful doing that either, even though I want to do it. So anyway.
Lori, do you mind if I'm gonna just sorry for the disruption, but and it's great to know what you've shared. But if you are open to experience that inner guidance, maybe this is going to be a great opportunity to actually find out what that is.
Yeah.
I mean, we can do this even right now, Karen, if you feel this is okay, because I feel, as Lori has shared all that, this is a great base really to
move on with an individual process. I totally agree. And everything Laurie said, I've experienced, and I'm sure probably everybody else in the group has, so it will be awesome.
Yeah, that's exactly the feeling I have, that this would be a perfect, really, inner guidance, to experience, and probably every one of you will benefit from that. So what I'm going to suggest, as I'm going to guide Lori in that process, please do this for yourself as well. Just the way.
Sorry to interrupt, just quickly, because Alva's shared as well, and she said on the chat, I can find it too, Laurie. I haven't been able to be fully present because I'm babysitting. However, I feel deep resonance when you mentioned food as comfort and stuffing emotions. I'm grateful for this insight and noticing agitation, irritation, anger bubbling below the surface. Looking forward to taking this into inner guidance later.
Oh, great, wonderful. That's fantastic. So Alva, if you are here and if you are free and open, maybe we could experience as well, because you've experienced that many times. So you are already experienced in the inner guidance. But let's maybe focus on Lori first.
I don't know if this is, good to maybe mention, maybe I'll just wait for you to, I was just trying to remember the age that this started, because at a certain age I was sexually.
This is going to come up when I guide you, yeah?
because I was going to say that I used food a lot because of being sexually abused for 10 years from my stepfather. And I think that was a big part of not being able to be normal after for all these years. Like I couldn't sleep. The food was just replaced everything, or, so after that. And then my parents were murdered. So I had a lot of different traumas when I was young, and I just used food. And then I felt like it was just a habit all these years that I just couldn't stop, because already it became a habit now.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. That is a big thing, definitely. So I really appreciate that you've shared this. Thank you for being open. Really respect that. But let's see what is going to come up for you. Yeah. So
Thank you.
So could you please sit in a relaxing way so that you are relaxed?
Yeah, I'm lying down.
Great, wonderful. Take a nice and relaxing breath. Yeah, maybe even one more. Focus on your heart. And let's express the intention, asking for your inner guidance to be guided in the most supportive way in this process that is available to you right now. Please become aware of your entire body now. Bring all the awareness in your body fully. Is there any sensation in your body that you feel? Scan your entire body from your head to your toes.
I mean, I'm very relaxed. Anyways, like I've been relaxed since when I fast. Normally I get migraines, but this time I didn't. So I'm so happy. And I'm little, not weak, but just relaxed. Like I'm a little weak. I'm not like super energetic, but I just feel very relaxed, which I love. I know I'm not usually this, relaxed when I'm eating food ever.
Okay, that's great. So when it comes to food, what is the first emotion that comes up when you feel like you want to eat, when you start eating and you can't stop? You just want to eat and eat and eat. What is the emotion that comes up?
Well, before I eat, what I normally, a lot of the reasons I'm eating right now for sure is that I'm extremely exhausted, tired, because I literally don't sleep much, hardly at all. So I've been like that. I think that's because of my abuse, but so for many years, my whole life, I don't sleep at night. I don't sleep at all. Like I can't fall asleep. So anyway, so I'm tired, and then that causes me to eat because sometimes I have to function in the world and go to work or do something. So then I want to eat something stimulating,
Okay,
which is not.
can I ask you one more question?
Yes.
What is the reason? What is the reason that you find really difficult to fall asleep?
Well,
Why?
sorry, what was the last thing you said?
What is that caused by? What is the reason?
Oh, well, so as I mentioned, over 40 years ago, or when I was about, um, I don't know, 8 years old till for 10 years, I had sexual abuse from my stepfather at night and during the day too, but at night So I think that's the cause of me at the beginning not sleeping. I think I have subconscious fear of letting myself go into a vulnerable position where so this is from years ago, that I couldn't fall asleep. And so it just carried on like all these years. I don't know. I don't know why now, because it seems crazy that I shouldn't sleep. That's just that I've tried so many things and I don't. As a matter of fact, I just have to say though, for like 40 years, I don't sleep. And last night I did a dry fast yesterday. And then last night I could say that I might have slept for half an hour or maybe even an hour, that I don't remember that time. And I didn't hear my husband in the shower, let's just say, because I hear everything all the time. And it's literally hardly ever that I would sleep, but not the whole night, of course. So I slept a little, but it doesn't happen often. And like I said, I don't know now what it is that I'm not sleeping, if it's just another habit that I created all these years
Right.
that I didn't sleep.
Yeah, all right, thank you. So let's focus now. What emotions come up? What the emotions that you felt when you experienced that sexual abuse 40 years ago? How
Yeah, I was afraid.
did you feel?
Well, I was always afraid living in my house. So I had a lot of anxiety, which that's what I think I have my whole life probably. So I had anxiety. Now also, after this happened too, my parents were murdered, my mother and my stepfather. So then I had even more anxiety because a lot of things have happened, and a lot of, it's a long story, but the police said they something could happen to me. Anyway, so I think most of my life was anxiety, and I didn't even realize that I had so much anxiety. So I had so much anxiety from the traumatic events when I was younger. um Sorry, what was the question you had now? Now I forget.
What kind of emotions? How did you really feel when you experienced that physical abuse in
Oh,
those times? How did you feel? Let's focus on that particular period.
sure. Well, I was just like, I don't know, disgusted and scared and not enjoying it at all. uh it's a lot of it's blocked out, I think, but I know that sometimes he would be on top of me and then I would start crying, like, and then he would stop because he's like, what am I doing to you? Because he was like my father in a way too, right? Because he was living with us for years, like he was my stepfather, but not my biological. And then he would like get off of me, but I just remember like I'd start crying, and then it was like kind of disgusting to me what he made me do to him. Like today when I think about it, and then too, I think I was just disgusted, but he would like, yeah. So I don't know what else I felt besides that.
Is there any particular situation that is coming up to you right now?
um I mean, I was just thinking how like he was Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, like, so he was either really nice to me or he was really not nice to me. And he would tell me that I'm selfish, that I should just do this, and why, like I'm a selfish girl, like I should just do this. And even my mother told me one time, which, was sad to think that she didn't protect me, but she told me that, Lori, if you can, maybe you should just do it with him, because maybe he'll get over his obsession with you, because he was obsessed like with me, right? So she would say like, maybe you should just do it so that he would get over the obsession or something.
How did you feel? How did you feel that you didn't have the protection, that you were not protected, that you were exposed to all this that was really disgusting to you and just not supportive in any way? How did you feel? How did that make you to feel?
um well, honestly, just for the last many years I started to feel differently than I did most of the time, because I love my mother so much. that I couldn't, and then, and the only thing I remember, because maybe I've done a lot of work too, like, self, just work. I would just feel like, oh, they're sick and they did the best they could. Like, I wasn't mad. Like, I didn't have this anger, like, until like many years later, I guess. Most of the time I just felt like something. And then also, not that I thought it was normal, but it was a secret, like they said not to tell anybody, right? So nobody else would know. So I didn't know probably how it was supposed to be. I'm not sure. Maybe I did, because I did have a father that didn't do that to me, my real father, when I was younger, like before he came to live with my mother. So how did I feel? I know that I just kept thinking, like, they were sick and they did the best they could. In the later years, like the recent years, I mean, I would feel like a little sad that my mother didn't really protect me. And then I guess I felt some anger, because I think my whole life was ruined from no sleep, and like I mean, even though I do agree that we choose everything in our life, and I became confused as well, because I learned that there was a reason that I chose this, because supposedly we choose everything in our life, so we have only ourselves to be responsible for what everything happened in our life. And even who we come through, like our mothers, we choose that, we choose like, supposedly, right? So I'm still trying to figure out what's the lesson that I had to learn in my life, or was there a past life, or am I paying for something, karmically?
All right, thank you.
Don't
Yeah,
know.
thank you, Lori. Can I just guide you further in that? Yeah.
Mhm.
So as you are in just this moment and with that particular situation in your early life, when you were about 10 to 8, 10 years of age, if you could really connect now with the younger version of you, can you see her in that situation?
A little. I mean, just not, I don't remember that much. I remember a
That's
little
fine.
bit at that age when he started taking pictures. That's how he started with everything, taking pictures of me. And but that, I don't remember that much, little bits and pieces. I don't know, remember how I felt really that much.
Can you see her? Can we please focus? Can you see her right now in that situation?
I mean,
Can you picture her?
I don't know if I'm really feeling like I know it, or just like I'm thinking of pictures I've seen in the past where, I would just see the pictures that were, I'm picturing a little bit. I don't know how to tell you that I have a hard time to remember anything.
How does she feel right now in that particular situation? Let's just focus, yeah?
I mean, at the particular situation I'm thinking about is when he used to take pictures, and I just felt like it was more fun at the.
Lori, I don't want you to think about, because that's the mind. We don't want the mind to be involved. It's really what you are seeing right now, what you are able to really connect right now.
But you're asking me to connect from when I was that age, right? When I was
Yes.
younger.
Yes, yeah, that's right, yeah.
And yeah, I feel like I'm sorry that I can't seem to do it. I'm trying, but I don't know if I can do that, or what I feel like. I don't know what to say. I have a hard time, like, just feeling or connecting or remembering, or all that, to be honest. So I'm trying, but
That's fine, that's fine. If you could ask yourself now, the aspect of who you really are. Ask for guidance. And what you could say now to the younger version of you who experienced that, who experienced all the fear, the anxiety, being in the house and not feeling safe, not being protected, feeling sad, feeling angry for what you are experiencing in your home, not feeling safe at all. What you could say now, how you could support younger version of you.
I mean, the thing that I would do if I was able to do that all over again, I mean, I would tell myself to, like, not be scared and go tell somebody else, and also protect yourself, like tell him no. I couldn't even say no most of the time because I was just such a compliant kid. Like, I just wanted everybody to love each other and we should all have love, and that's all I felt like I was loved, like all I wanted was love. And I just would say, stand up for yourself more and go tell somebody.
Yeah, what else? Just allow this to come to you. Please focus on your heart now and ask for guidance. Ask for either guidance that is available to you right now, that is going to come from the wisdom, the deep, profound space within you. Just allow this to come, not from the mind. We don't want the mind to be involved. This needs to come from your heart, from the pure awareness of who you really are. It's going to come to you.
I mean, I just feel like I know that I'm love. I am love. I am, we are all gods.
Yeah.
I feel, but I don't know what the answer is to your, like, to say what to say about that. But I just feel like, I'm different, now it's a whole different things. I've worked a lot on myself, and, but as far as my heart goes, all I am is love. Like, love is the most important thing.
Yeah. What you could say to the younger version of you right now? Now you have the awareness, you have the knowing, but you didn't have that at that time. What you could say to her right now? How you could support her?
I don't know. Do you have any suggestions? I'm not sure what I would say besides what I just told you before.
Okay, so knowing that you are love, that you are the pure awareness, could you say that to the younger version of you, just directly?
Yeah, I felt like, I feel funny. Like, I don't know. I feel like I wouldn't understand that at that time. And I wouldn't feel that either or understand even if somebody told me that.
Yeah, of course. What would be the best way for you to support yourself now and being able to sleep at night, knowing that all you've experienced in the past,
Knowing that what in the past? I'm sorry.
knowing that what you've experienced in the past, it's not your experience right now. It was in the past. Now you know that you are,
Myself,
that you
I
are
always,
pure love. okay, Lori, can I please finish? So knowing that you are pure love, could you please ask for inner guidance, how you could support yourself right now, be able to sleep at night, knowing that you are safe in your home right now, that there is no danger, because in that pure, profound space within you, that pure awareness that you are, that pure love that you are, everything is available to you. You are safe, you are protected.
Well, that's what I was going to say,
Yeah.
that, you know, to tell myself, you know, and I've done that, that, you know, I'm safe. I'm safe. I don't have to have any fear or anxiety. I'm, you know, just,
Exactly.
you know, I'll breathe. And of course, I've done all these meditations, breathing techniques, and EFT, NLP, hypnotizing. Like, but you know, what you're asking me now is like, yeah, I would just say, you know, you were safe. I used to, you know, write it down beside my bed. I used to say it over and over again. But I don't know.
Okay, so let's focus now on your heart. Please take a nice and relaxing breath. Focus on and how you could experience that. Maybe even every day, just to practice for some time. So it's going to become, you really are going to become aware of that. That knowing that you are safe, there's no danger. So you can basically sleep every day. You can relax. Could you please implement this every day? Would that be something that you could do?
Yes, of course. I'll do it again. I have done that, but I'll try again.
Okay, that's great. Is anything else that is coming to you right now that could support you to sleep, to rest, and to become aware that the fear that you experienced in the past, it's not relevant anymore? That was just an experience.
Well, that's why I feel that this is important to fast and to, you know, to aspire to try to be more like breatharian path, because I feel like the less I eat, the more I could let, I mean, they say you let go of emotions and everything too. So I don't know if that's the case for me, but I'm thinking it might be, and it might be my, which I just felt like intuitively for years, since I'm 16, 17, when I started fasting then, I always felt that that was something that I should be doing. And I felt like I said, a different person. It doesn't help you with the food, like when I start eating, that's the problem. But when I'm fasting,
Lori, I need to probably, because we can go forever with discussing those things, but I feel that I cannot really dedicate more time, because otherwise.
sure. Yeah, sure. No, we could stop. I'm just saying that when you asked me about that, I just feel like, what could I do? Is I feel like just be on the path of less eating, which would help me, I think, with my emotions.
Yes, I mean, this is, I'm going to just clarify a few things. This is a huge thing. So this is not something we can really discuss entirely in, yeah, because it's just simply, this is too big. This is something that really needs, requires to work, and I would say probably on individual basis. So, this is obviously, I'm aware completely, and I respect that this is a huge thing, but just in this particular experience, I feel that this is really what I can dedicate to you right now, because otherwise I feel that, you know, the focus will be basically on on just that individual guidance. And I just wanted to really share basically what the individual guidance could be like. So thank you very much for being open and sharing that. And I would definitely work on that, because I could also feel how your mind is basically, even the fact that you were saying, I'm thinking, this is already suggesting your mind. So the mind was kicking in a lot, which is very distracting actually in that guidance. So it also requires some practice for you to actually focus on certain things. And obviously I appreciate all that, because all the experiences, they have a huge impact on us. So thank you very much for participating in that and for being open and sharing your experience. How did you really feel? How do you feel right now? Was that helpful in some way?
Well, I do want to say thank you for taking the time. I don't know. I mean, like I said, I've done so many things, and I know what you're saying is not to think, but that's probably a lot of my problem is that I don't know how to not think.
Yes, I could really feel that, and I could see this literally. Yeah, the thinking is, the mind is very, very present, very strong. That unfortunately is not helping to really liberate from the past experiences. Yeah, and that this is the case for many people as well, that the mind is more present than actually the awareness of really who you are.
Right. I understand, and I agree. I think that's why I couldn't even get hypnotized, to try to get to my subconscious. Like, I tried that to see if that could help. But anyway, I don't want to take more time.
Thank you very much, Rory. Really appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right, so I wonder if that was beneficial in some way for anyone else. It would be great to actually hear any feedback. I don't know if we have the time for maybe one more, Karen. I'm just looking at the time. I don't know how long we want to dedicate. I'm here. I'm available.
Yeah, I just wanted to
we have time, no problem.
Great.
I want to remark regarding Lori, that actually you can dig deeper. You know, she was talking about addiction to eating, and then we discovered that there's underneath layers. It's not the eating, it's much, much deeper. So it's actually digging and seeing what it sits on, this emotion. It's not about the eating. She has to resolve the underlying issue, which is very big, and then automatically, because the food is a compensation, is something to cling on to. It's definitely not the food prop.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. That's exactly what it is.
And thank you for saying that. But I just have a quick question about that, because that's what confused to me. That I always felt that that's part of it, yes, but then there's stuff they put in this food, the sugar, that makes you more addicted and makes you want more. Like even just normal people, right? We all have an addiction. A lot of people have addiction to cooked foods, they would say, because raw foods, you just don't feel this, it's not the same. And then when they have the salt and all the additives and whatever, the taste that's so good, that it actually makes just anybody just want, maybe not to my extreme, with my addiction was really bad, but isn't it part of that too? It's not just of what you're saying that I have to fix, or do something with all the other deep stuff, but isn't it just also food that just, you eat it and then it you just want more because you're eating chips, let's say, most people can't eat one chip, right? You want to eat more. So isn't there part of that it is the food?
Yes, Lori, totally agree. It is also the food, and it's basically the fact that, and I'm going to just refer to, generally to, the old system, basically forced us in many ways to become consumers for a reason. This was consciously programmed.
Yeah, a baby cries and you give them food to soothe them. It's from way back when. It's like we were programmed from a baby.
We became programmed with full force to become consumers, and the food industry is obviously very strong in that, and salt or sugar, all the additives, they're extremely addictive,
Yes.
and they are being added for a reason. Yeah.
And then some people are more addicted than others. Like I've heard about just like alcoholics. Some people could drink and some people drink and they have to drink and become an alcoholic. Everybody's a little different with that.
Yeah, but apart from that, the emotions have huge part in that. So it's both, and now we can see how much really is behind. And exactly like how do you pronounce your name? Revital, yeah.
Revital. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the way you
Yeah,
read.
it's exactly like you've mentioned that the food is only the end part of it. It's how
It's a symptom. It's a symptom.
Yes, absolutely. But it's only when we follow back and when we see what is behind, is actually not even food.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, can I share something?
Please do, absolutely.
When I was little, I remember not wanting to eat, and my mother forced me to eat. I remember her forcing me to eat. Now, I don't know, she wasn't a good cook, so maybe, I hear people that because the food was very tasty when they were little, got them addicted. So I didn't like food. I hated food. It was a bad thing for me, except for, of course, for chocolates and things like that. And then when I was a teenager, I was sent to a boarding school, and then the food was tastier. It was oily, and then I got addicted. Yeah. I didn't get addicted at a young age, but it caught up with me at a later age. And I don't know, maybe the fact that I was away from home, and the fact that the food was tasty, and then I got hooked.
Yeah, but most children, Revital, it's true. Most children, if you look, and I look at my 3-year-old nephew, they don't want to eat. The parents are pushing food into them. He doesn't want to eat. If he does, just a little. This is what they talk about, being that we're born breatharian, because you eat. We're pushed to eat at the beginning. Except me, I can't remember. I always wanted to eat, but that was probably emotional. But yeah, as kids, you see parents pushing their kids. They're so worried they're not getting food. And the kids, if they eat, they just eat a bite and they want to go back to playing because that's what we want to play.
Yes, everyone has their own experiences, but eventually I think we both, we all get addicted because the food is very tasty. They have all these taste enhancers. I forgot the name of this things that they use. Yeah, they do.
Well, they said even the breastfeeding is because the baby want to be held. So we all want love, right? We all want love, and that's how we, so then when the baby was held, he didn't necessarily wanted the food, but he wanted to be held when he was breastfeeding. That's what I've heard. So it's love that we want, not necessarily food, and then most of us use food for love.
Totally, yeah.
It's complicated. It's a lot of things. things together. Yeah.
Complicated, but not really in a way. It's kind of, it's just what we're using for that we didn't get love, we didn't get, what we needed or whatever. And then people use different things, whether it's food or alcohol or drugs.
Yeah, it is a huge topic. I can share that I started to actually write. I mean, it's an ebook, which really inspired me to share my experience when I started to become aware of my food addictions. But then I became aware that there is so much more and so much more. So I'm still really discovering and learning. Hopefully at some point I will share that ebook, but this is a huge topic really, because it's related directly with emotions. And in that particular case, what I started really to focus how the emotions really show up in food, basically related directly to food. So it
Sure.
is a topic.
I want to say, Revital, though, just because I want to say that I love your beautiful smile. You're always smiling and your teeth are beautiful. And Karen, you too. And it's just beautiful to see you guys smiling, and you always smile. I'm sorry I'm not on right now, but I've actually resting my eyes and lying in bed because that's what I do a lot during the day. But anyways, you look beautiful.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. And thank you for sharing your
experience. Yeah.
story. Wow, it's very, very deep. Goes very, very deep. And
yeah, I didn't even tell you half of it, like what really happened. Like I could write a movie from everything that there's so many things that happen, like other things.
Lori, this is really for you to something to really work on. I would really dedicate.
I've been working my whole life and I'm done. I'm tired. So I mentioned to you because sometimes there is something that can help. Maybe I always feel like somebody might say something that will help me, but I'm okay now. I mean, I worked my whole life. I've been doing and spent thousands of dollars going to places, doing it myself, doing whatever. I just don't like, you can stop yourself from eating. That's hard enough. But to not to be able to make yourself sleep is like the hardest thing in the world. I can't do anything. There's nothing else I feel like I could do unless if I work private with you.
You are limiting yourself. It's the mind that is telling you you cannot do anything else. The mind, I can really feel it's so present and so strong. So it's really calming the mind and really aligning with the self. It's not the mind. The mind is not going to give you any solution. The mind is going to repeat the same patterns and you'll be experiencing the same things over and over again. So Karen, I don't know if there is anyone else who would like to experience maybe in a shorter way. I'm here to offer that. I don't know if Alva is available or maybe someone else.
Will you also talk about if we did want a session with you, how that works, and at the end maybe, or I don't know.
Yeah, we'll cover that, Laurie.
Yeah, is anyone else who would like to experience the inner guidance?
I'd like to, but I don't know what on. I mean, not that I've got such a terrible, well, it's all relative. What regarding food?
I mean, whatever you feel that is basically coming up for you.
What I wrote about security, that sometimes it feels like you eat in order, it's like a hug. It's like, I don't know if you call it comfort food, security, to feel, sort of you I mean, why would food make you secure? There's probably something behind it. I mean, like you're holding on to.
Would you like to experience that?
When your stomach is full, then you're relaxed. you're secure. I mean, but it doesn't make sense that.
Okay, so would you like to experience that? Would you like to go for the inner guidance?
Yeah.
All right. So are you sitting in a comfortable way? Are you relaxed?
Yes.
Great. So could you close your eyes, please? Take a nice relaxing breath, just in a natural way that resonates with you. Focus on your heart. Bring all the awareness in your body now. And ask for inner guidance. Why do you feel that you want to experience eating to feel secure? What is even eating communicating to you right now when you eat? How do you feel?
It's pleasurable. It's like, just like I said, it's like a hug. It's like you're being hugged. The feeling of fullness.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of the food is hugging you or something. Now you feel that the physical feeling of, I don't know, fullness, content, satisfactory. Maybe it replaces physical hug, touch, a warmth.
Yeah. So is the physical, the real hug, the real physical hug, is it the same as food, or is it just a replacement?
What do you mean? The food is a replacement for a physical hug?
Yes.
It could be. For love, for warmth.
Why do you feel that you want to experience food for the real hug?
Love. It's like love.
When did you experience first that need for the physical hug and that need for love? When did you first experience that? When the need was there?
And I guess always, I think.
Is there any particular situation? It could be quite early in your life.
Yeah, I think maybe it's very early because I don't remember any particular.
Okay, we don't want to think. This is the mind. Could you please leave the mind aside now? Just express the intention that you are leaving the mind aside. It's not, the mind is not present here. Focus on your heart, please. And ask for inner guidance. It's going to come to you. Just allow it to come. Don't rush. When did you first experience in your life the need for physical hug, the need for love?
At the age of 4, 5, what I can remember.
Okay, that's great. Was there any particular situation, perhaps, that you remember?
Yeah, with my mother, I was crying and just needed comfort.
Mhm.
Mm.
Did she offer you that comfort? Did she offer you the hug and the love that you actually needed in that particular moment?
Yeah.
How did you feel experiencing that? That you had the need to receive that physical hug, the love, but actually you didn't. How did it make you to feel?
Lonely,
Mm-hmm.
alone.
Yeah. What else?
I remember crying, and the more I cried and protested, the more she rejected me, like I probably was making a lot of noise. And all I wanted is just love and
Of course.
support and warmth, that's all.
Yeah. But you didn't receive that in that particular situation. Yeah. How did that make you to feel?
Alone,
Mm-hmm.
unprotected.
Unprotected, yeah. What else?
Very vulnerable, very unprotected.
Yeah. If you could say now to the 4 or 5 version, the young version of you right now, how you could support her right now in that situation? What you could.
I would hug her. I would hug her and tell her that she's safe and everything is okay. And
Can you see her right now can you picture her in that situation? Could you please give her that hug, offer her that love, and just say what really resonates with you, what is coming to you right now from the pure, profound aspect of who you really are, the beautiful self, knowing that you are love. Could you offer that to her, this big, huge physical hug that she really wanted at that time, the love? Please do. How does she feel right now?
good. Safe.
That's great. What else you could say to her?
That everything is okay. She's safe. She's loved. Everything is okay. She has nothing to worry about.
Exactly. Yeah, that's wonderful. How do you feel right now?
Good. That maybe I can help myself. That I can connect with these times that I felt insecure. I need for love, and give myself this hug and assurance.
Yeah, absolutely. And the knowing that you are love, you are pure awareness, and the source of love is you. That's who you really are. You are the pure awareness, pure love, pure light.
Yeah, it's like we are limiting ourselves. Like, yeah, we actually.
Yeah, it's the mind that is very limited. And it's the mind that creates and the experiences, the past experiences, because they are so strong in the mind, they create the distorted realities and they feel so real, they appear so real, but they're actually not. When we connect really, when we align directly with that pure awareness of who we really are, we find that we are perfect, that everything is available there. We are that love. We are that source of abundance.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Kasia.
you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for being open and participating. That was great. How do you feel now?
More relieved, yeah, and more powerful that actually it's in my hands, that
Yeah.
that I've got a tool to work with. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I was going to see if anybody else had any questions that they wanted to add.
There are a lot of questions in the chat.
Oh, are there? Okay, I'll head in there. Okay. Okay, I have, okay, that's someone leaving. I've got a question. This is Ravi. Leaving emotion, I've got a question. Leaving emotions about eating. My question is, what happens if we don't eat despite being hungry? Will the body collapse, or I am very curious. So it's more about food on that one, Kasia, from Ravi.
So it depends on your beliefs. They are basically, this is all based on beliefs. Our beliefs are so strong, so powerful, and whatever you decide to believe, you allow that belief to rule you in so many ways. If you believe that you're going to die, you're going to die. That's literally what's going to happen. But if you have that inner knowing that you'll be absolutely fine, you'll be absolutely fine. It's that simple, but at the same time, it's that powerful. That the beliefs, they really decide in many ways, like how we experience everything. And it's also the belief that we've believed so strong that we have to eat. Because if we don't eat, we are going to die. So it's really you knowing like what you really believe, what is behind. I would not experience, I would not go for something like this when you don't feel safe, because there is a lot of fear, there's a lot of anxiety, and this is not supportive, and this is not going to work. So this is not the approach I would suggest. And it's not the approach for anything in life. Like if there's any fear, any anxiety behind anything, this is not going to be supportive. So this is very important to become aware of the fear that is behind.
Awesome. Thank you, Kasia. My situation is, so for example, let me give you an example, okay? Yesterday morning, around 10 a.m. my time, I finished my fasting around 36, 37, 38 hours. I was not hungry. I was not hungry. I didn't have any emotions to eat. I ended up grabbing some bananas and some grapes. After that, I tried to introspect myself. Then nothing changed. My situation, my emotions, or physical state, or anything, there was no change either before eating or after eating. So how do you characterize this kind of a situation? So it's very weird, right? So I didn't feel like eating, but I just ate something. After that, I didn't feel like anything at all. Then I thought, why should I eat it now? Why did I eat? There's no answer from me. Why did I eat? I don't know. I just ate.
This is the habit.
Oh, habit. Okay.
So in that situation, before I would grab that food, that particular grape or whatever the fruit was, before actually, I would ask, okay, so if I'm not hungry, why would I even go for that experience? So there is something behind, there's some kind of distraction that wanted you to experience that. But there is something behind this as well. It's something for you to also discover what that is. Particularly that you didn't, you knew you were not hungry. So the body, your body was not asking for that.
Correct.
It was your mind.
So how do I handle the situation? Let's say tomorrow, I'm fasting right now since morning.
That's exactly what I've shared. Before you go for that food, before you take it, just stop, relax your body, take a nice relaxing breath, focus on your heart, and just ask, why would I experience that food? What would I want to eat if I'm actually not hungry? Ask the body first. Ask first the physical body if the body actually wants to really experience now anything to eat, because the food is only for the body, for nothing else. Quite often we feed the emotions, the mind. Yeah, but it's only the physical body. There's only stomach in the physical body, nowhere else. So ask first the body, the physical body, if the body actually really wants any food. And then ask for the inner guidance. So if I am not hungry, if the body doesn't need any food, why would I still go for that? And then you will be guided, go for that guidance, whatever comes.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Kasia. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question about hunger. I think that I was told that hunger is a sensation in the throat, and I don't know if everybody feels a different feeling of hunger, because I feel that most people aren't hungry when they're eating. On the most part, they just eat because of habit, or it's time to eat, or they emotionally or whatever. So what would you say would hunger, when somebody feels hunger, what are they feeling? Because I don't think I felt hunger.
Yeah, I totally relate to that, Lori, that in most cases, the experience with food and the habit is so strong that we cannot even recognize or differentiate basically the real hunger from the habit of eating.
Right.
And quite often, what we feel in the stomach is actually not hunger.
It's not hunger, right?
This actually isn't hunger. Because it's great, like there shouldn't be really any food in the stomach. And if there is, obviously it's for a little time, and the food should really pass further, to other, go through, the other stages of digestion. So the food should remain in the stomach for as little as possible.
So what does hunger feel like to you, let's say? What is hunger, or anybody else there want to describe when they feel like they're hungry? What do they feel like? I mean,
Yes.
it's one thing if you don't have energy, but
Yeah, I experience this also. It's not in the stomach. It's really more. I would probably describe this more like, in the throat rather here.
that's what I was told. It's a subtle feeling in the throat is what it's supposed to be, hunger.
Yeah, and this is what I suggested, what I invited you at the very beginning, to practice even breathing, but just normal, just natural breathing,
Mhm.
no any kind of breath work. We don't want really anything like this, because this is not natural to our body. It's just the way we would normally breathe, but really become aware of that breath. And you would find most of the time, when you wanted actually to eat because you thought you were hungry, after taking literally 10 breaths, just natural, slow, deep breath, you would find out that actually you are not hungry. If you take, a few sips of water in the same way, very slow and like really conscious way, you know you are not hungry.
Yeah, that's what I agree with that. That's what I'm saying. I think most people eat not out of hunger, not in the US, not places where they're not nobody's really that hungry. We eat so much that how could we even be hungry?
Totally, yeah. Most people have so much really sort of reserves in the body that they could go for a long time with no eating.
Right, correct. Correct.
I wonder whether it's actually an emptiness that we're trying to fill. So it's actually that love at the bottom, at the very core of the problem. And maybe when, again, it could go back to when we were children, and maybe when we were fed, that we then felt full, and associated that obviously with the parental love, if we got any.
Of course.
It makes you wonder if that's what why we think we need food is because we feel an emptiness, but we're actually thinking the food will fill us.
Exactly.
But actually it isn't. It's actually we've got to go into our inner self and give that inner self the love that it's been missing since forever.
Exactly.
But
I wanted to mention, just to tell you that, I agree with that 100%. And when I go to Woodstock Fruit Festival, there's a festival every year. It's called Woodstock Fruit Festival, right? They have just fruit and, raw foods. And it's such a community and it's such high vibe that when I'm there, I don't even want to eat. I don't even have the urge to eat. The love, then what I give love, there's love and there's just that community. There's no need for food that much. So exactly what you're saying. It's like, and I always said I wish we could all live like that. It's like utopia. If we could bring that back to and have that in your life, in your world, it's not, that's what we want, not, to be eating constantly. And yeah.
And Laurie, this is available to every one of us, because in fact, it's really rediscovering that we are complete. And it's really aligning with that awareness, and bringing this more and more to light.
Yes. My whole life I've been trying to be happy from within, not from anything without. with outside myself. I just to have that joy, happiness, peace, it all comes from inside. But to have, it's not easy. Like you always feel like it's something outside that's going to give it to you, right? But it's only the inside.
Only, yes, absolutely.
Okay. Well, if there's any more questions, let's do those. Other than that, maybe Kasia can talk to us about how we can get some inner guidance if we need some, and how you can help. Aha, hold on, because
now I just posted it. I just looked up, Googled up taste enhancers. It's like, yeah, they're putting all kinds of addictive stuff in the food. So on top of emotional baggage and all the food enhancers and everything. So
we haven't got a chance.
What is it?
No, I was saying we haven't got a chance, have we? If it's not our emotions that's making us eat, then they are going to make us eat.
That's why if you just eat fruit, you don't have that thing.
As long as you get them that haven't been fed chemicals.
Yeah, you get the organic, the best you can get. Yeah, but even whatever you get, it still doesn't give you that addiction if you're just eating fruit or drinking.
Absolutely, this is the natural food. So really, fruits and maybe just soft leafy greens like lettuces. If someone wants to really add this, that's the natural food. That is really what's supportive. If someone still wants to experience that physical nourishment, of course, yeah.
Yeah, and what you talked about, Karen, about the emotional hug, that this feeling of fullness, that, yeah, that's what I felt, that the love. I mean, so actually,
well, I'm sending a lot of hugs to you right now.
Yeah, and they're out from me to you guys as well.
Yeah, so fascinating. This topic is fascinating. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. That's what I shared, last time, the first time when we had the experience here together. That's really what it opened and basically up for me when I became aware of my sugar addiction, what was actually behind. So I was basically substituting love with all those sugary things. And that was the opening chapter. It was a big thing, but also becoming aware really of all that. It's just very important. And then the work obviously has to be done.
And there's a difference. I've noticed that there's a difference between the natural sugar and the natural salt. Like if you eat fruit at a certain point, you get, full, you don't need any more. Or salt, you eat a natural salt, the refined natural salt. But these addictive tastes, artificial tastes, you just want to keep on eating the sweet, the unnatural sweet, the unnatural salt. It never stops. It's so addictive. You just keep on wanting more, and you're full, but you need the taste. It's not natural. It's not. They add all these chemicals that stimulate your taste buds, and you're never full. So it's wrong, and you're full, your belly's busting, but you still want this taste. It's addictive. It's an addiction. It's not natural.
Yeah.
Unlike the natural taste.
Exactly the same way as any other drugs.
That's right.
The same way. So that's why they are so addictive, and they are used for a reason, because they want to stimulate that taste. So the great example is like if you had a bowl of cooked rice, and you would have that rice with nothing added, and if you wanted to experience that bowl, that small bowl would definitely be enough. But if you added salt to it, you would eat even twice more, and the body would still feel that it wants to experience more. That's
exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to get went off of all these artificial tastes and get used to the natural tastes, and then it, you know, you eat, you feel full, and you stop. It's not like an addiction. It's like,
yeah, absolutely. And breaking from the physical food, so really supplying the body with water helps enormously with that, because it gives the body the break and also the opportunity to cleanse itself. So it's cleansing slowly from those addictive substances in the body. And then we have the chance to rediscover those, if we obviously support the body with the natural food. That's the only way, because if we go to the same old habit, nothing is going to change. But assuming that we are going to support the body with the natural food, the body has the opportunity to recognize the real taste. And the longer the break, the abstinence from food, the better we can support the body, because the body has more chance to clean itself, to repair. So, but even weekly practices like this, they support the body absolutely in an absolutely wonderful way. So this is a great work that you all do. So I really congratulate you on that.
thank you. It's
Yeah, and my personal experience, the more, like, I've added more days into my week. So I tend to do 48 hours now. So I tend to go from like 12 o'clock yesterday till 12 o'clock tomorrow. So I actually get like 48 hours. And then I like I say, I then eat, but not because I'm hungry. I eat because the habitual thing wants to come in. But I'm now, like Marcus suggested, keeping that to 2 hours, a 2-hour window. And then I wait the next day, and I actually, you know, in my mind, do I want to eat? Do I want that? And often I go straight back into another 48 hour. And, you know, I'm not hungry at all. And then, like, I'll do the same again. Like, I may have a couple of days where I have 2-hour windows, and then I'll do another 48 hour. And what I'm noticing is that the emotions are getting less and less. It still comes up, you know, as soon as I go into a fast, it's like, no way does my mind want to go into the fast, but it gets easier and easier. And I'm also noticing that when I do go back into that 2-hour window, that it's getting less and less like, oh, I've got to eat everything in sight. That was, you know, that was my first experience, was like, oh my God, I've got, you know, I just want to try this. I just want to try that. And, you know, that the taste sensation again. But the more I've done it, and the more I'm following, again, Marcus obviously encouraged it. But so I've really noticed cutting back on the eating window, massive. And then, like I say, and then I'm adding more days into the week. So I'm sort of, you know, fasting more than I'm eating days.
That's great, Karen. That's fantastic. I just want to ask you, do you feel, so maybe you're living on prana now, or are you weak, or you're have energy, you're feeling good when you're fasting?
No, I've noticed over time, I used to get weak. I definitely used to get weak, but over time, and little by little, you know, well, I would say after 6 months of regular fasting, I didn't get the weakness. Okay. I didn't get the weakness. So I get other sensations weird. Like right now, I obviously haven't drunk enough water, so I'm feeling my tongue's a little bit dry because we've been talking and things. But what I am noticing, that big starvation thing, as soon as I break the fast, isn't there in the same way it has been. The more
that's fantastic. That's good to hear.
yeah, and I like to share it, anything I find that could help anybody else.
That's good to know, because I'm just doing it now, and I'm on that path, but I do feel like when I start eating, it's like I don't even know if I want fruit. I just want to go right to the crap sometimes,
Yeah.
like I'm thinking to myself,
And
no.
Marcus said do it. Marcus said do it. And I've experimented since his talk. I've experimented with going for the rubbish and seeing what sort of, whether what sensations, how it exits my body, how it makes me feel. And what I can say is, it's not really your food. I have it, and it's it's not like fruit. Fruit is just satisfies on every level, whereas that is just addictive. It's just addictive, and your body gets to a point where it will tell you. And Marcus definitely made that clear. I didn't believe him, which is why I obviously wanted to do it myself. But 100%, your body doesn't really want that, and enough. The body starts the more you fast, the more intelligent, the more of the body intelligence comes out, and the more it will tell you. So you haven't got to worry. All I would say is add more days of fasting. Don't push it. If you're doing, I've done 5 days of dry fasting, 5 days, 6 nights. So, and like I say, and I would come off of one of those, and I'd be ravishing. It would be like, oh my God, I'll eat anything. But now just doing, little and often, little and often, little and often, and then extending that little and often, that's what makes the difference, or at least in my experience.
Yeah, after 5 days of dry, you really have to go slow with coming back to eating. But for me, it's just like, now that I'm fasting, I'm like, oh, it sounds good. Water sounds great, right? Then you have the water, and then juice sounds great, and then you have the juice, and then you want to bite an apple maybe, or bite something. Then all that sounds great until, but then after a few days, you start wanting
then everything else will
else.
come in, and that's when and again, like I say, I don't know what I would say, but apart from the fact that, like I say, just little and often, just bring in more fasting days and see how.
That's what I'm doing.
And then on the days that you don't eat, don't make yourself to eat fruit. If you fancy the rubbish, have the rubbish, and then but observe again. That Marcus said that, and just observe how it makes you feel, and then like say, no,
I just gonna do what I think I like to do, is just have liquids, like have a soup, which because for me it's cooked versus raw. I don't go crazy. I could eat raw, but I always want something cooked. So let's say soup. But of course, soup has a little salt. So, but it's satisfying to me, instead of having fruit. Let's say, now I love fruit, and it's great if it's good, if it's optimal. But when it's not optimal, that's the big problem I have. So if I was living in some tropical place, and I was eating the best papaya, I never liked papaya when I lived in the States. Like I never even ate it. Then when I was in Hawaii, I ate papaya, and I could live on papaya. It was fine. Or mangoes. But when you don't have the optimal fruit sometimes, then that's where it gets hard, and then you want cooked food.
Agree. Couldn't completely agree. I couldn't agree with you more. There is, again, we've had this subject. You've got to go with what's in season, and like you say, and if it's not ripe and it's not in season, I would say you might just as well eat the rubbish,
Yeah, or but I'm saying even just soup is not rubbish totally, like some soup or some vegetable soup. But that's why I just love the idea of being breatharian. I mean, it's just so much easier than to deal with all this stuff.
Me too, but we've got a lot of work to do.
Yeah. Thanks, Karen. That sounds good. I'm really happy that you're at that. That's very great for you. It's good.
Yeah.
Well, I would suggest also, particularly when you plan to have that abstinence from food, please don't overcommit to shopping.
Yeah.
It's not supportive, particularly.
Don't go to shopping? What?
Don't overcommit to buy lots of things. Just get literally, if you want to experience fruits, just get 1 or 2. Don't buy a lot, because when you see this, you will be tempted to basically eat. So there is also this habit of buying more because of that habit of eating. But even become aware that we buy too much, we overcommit. Is
Yeah,
actually
that I never do that. The only problem is I live with my husband who has food, obviously, like a person, like he's the one that has the food in the house. That tempts me. If it wasn't for that, I'd have an easier time. Because if you don't have it in the house, it's much easier. It's all out there, but if you don't bring it home, then it's totally much easier, right? To not overindulge on any of the bad foods or whatever.
Yeah,
The,
I mean,
the
I
problem,
suggest also, something similar, Karen, to what you've just shared about experiencing, if someone really feels the strong need for experiencing some of the past foods that we feel drawn to experience that, but to approach this with awareness, why we want to experience, not just simply to repeat the pattern uh, in a way that we would just eat over and over and we don't know why, but to really become aware why we want to experience, really observe what is really happening in our body, the emotions that communicate with that, and observe how we feel when we are actually experiencing that particular food, and then what happens afterwards, how the body responds to that, and really learn from that experience. Not just simply to repeat and satisfy the body with the experience, but really uh, go for that experience, because that experience is going to teach us. So it is good to experience that. Definitely, I would not, unless we can, before, like if we identify something and we will be fine not to have this, that's great. But if that need, it still appears very strong, I would go for that. And this is what I also invite to experience, but with awareness.
Completely agree.
yeah, I wanted to say, yes, the problem with society is the overabundance. It's not natural to have so much food. The supermarkets are full with so many flavors, so much variety. It's not natural, and it's all the temptations and the smells you smell all the time, and everything is around food, and you can't avoid it. So yeah, you have to get rid of the addiction to the strong tastes. And you're right about saying eating with awareness, and also Marcus said it. Try to eat the rubbish if you want it. Yes, I do that, and then I say, and then I eat it and say, what was the big deal? I mean, what was so special about it? It's not so good. So, and then it's sort of, I'm doing it's like a goodbye. It's like a farewell. Try it for the and try to see what's so special about it. It's cooked. It's dead. I mean, why am I putting it in the body? And yeah, if you do it with awareness, it's sort of like saying goodbye for good. Okay, it wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it. So thank you, and
Exactly.
I hope to never see you again.
Yeah, it's just learning. It's basically learning, and it's becoming aware. This is really how we learn in life. So it's important to be curious, but also to observe, like be aware of what we are experiencing, and then we can evolve really in that way.
I don't know. I found that the cookie is always good. Like if you buy the same cookie that you love, it's always tastes good. It's sometimes cooked foods doesn't taste good if you're eating something that you're not maybe didn't you went somewhere it wasn't that good. But if you eat the foods that you always love, like whether it's a veggie burger and fries or whatever it is, like I like veggie burgers with the it's always good and it always satisfies me. Like, but if I eat a fruit, like I said before, sometimes it's good and sometimes it's not so good, and it's never consistent. Typically if fruits, like I love watermelon if it's good, but if it's not so good, then it's not satisfying, right? So I don't know, but that's why I feel like I have to stay away from the cookies and the foods that I always taste good to me. It's never going to be beneficial for me to eat them.
I look at the list I posted. It's because of all these artificial taste enhancers. That's their
Yeah, exactly. But you can't get to
hooked.
your goal if you keep eating that food. Like I can't get to my goal of losing weight and getting healthy if I
That's
keep
why
going back to eating that food. It just doesn't ever work. And that's why I
you
have to,
eat the natural food, because the natural food is not
yeah,
addictive. It's
I
you
know.
eat it, and once you're full and the body doesn't need anymore, because these artificial tastes, that's their goal, to get you hooked up. And yeah, and you keep eating. It doesn't matter how much you've eaten before, because it's just for the taste. It's an addiction. It's an
Yeah, I
addiction.
mean, now today, like I don't need to eat that much of things, but like I used to eat a lot more. But if you're like sitting there having your salad or your fruit or whatever you're eating, and then your husband makes this great meal that smells so good, and you're just like, I close my door, I come in my room, I don't want to smell it, I still smell it. And then, one day I just go, oh, I'm doing so well. Maybe I could just have one taste of it, like one taste of his food. So I take one bite and it's real good. I'm happy. Like it was like, wow, that's so good. Next day I want another bite. Next day I want, and that's it. Right. So that's the thing, it's just the smell. It's the smell that really gets to me a lot of the times.
Yeah, you have to get used to it. We're surrounded, I go in the street and I smell a good smell. And then I said, wait a minute, what is it that I'm smelling? Actually, it's boiled oil. Why am I attracted to boiled oil? I mean, that's, they fry everything with a lot of oil. But so why are we attracted to?
Why does it have to smell so good?
Yeah, boiled.
Right, guys, we've got to wind it up because I've got to get my dogs out for a pee.
Okay.
So Kasia, do you want to share? Would you like to share what you're doing? If there's any options, programs, things people can join in on?
Of course. So we've just started literally last Sunday. We've just started a new 90-day holistic detox program, which is really, which offers the support to the human body to support. So the body is going to start cleansing itself, detoxifying, and just releasing really the old mucus, the toxic buildup. And it's a process, it's a very profound process that supports the physical body, but not only the physical body. So we dedicate a lot of work also to emotions, because as you know, this is a huge topic, and obviously it comes up in a very strong, very present way. So it's really a process, very deep, profound process of rediscovering who we really are. So it's supporting the physical body, but it's a lot more than just supporting the body to cleanse itself and detoxifying itself. So this is also where the inner guidance is available as a part of that program, which I offer during the weekly Q&A live calls that we have every week, once a week. So that's something that is literally available right now. If there is someone in that group that is perhaps participating now live and still would like to join that program, I can open maybe like 2 spaces. We've literally just started. So now, let's say this week until maybe Sunday or Monday, I would say, there's the right time to join, because we've literally just started. Apart from that, I offer the inner guidance as individual sessions. So I have the compassion key session and also the inner guidance process as well. they're both available as individual sessions. So everyone can schedule and book individual sessions with me. And this is what I've mentioned earlier. It's to work individually, that's much more effective because we can really dive deeper into details, and obviously that requires more time. So the sessions are usually 60 to 90 minutes. Sometimes they go even longer, and obviously I allow that time whenever possible to really resolve as much as possible during one session. So this is what is available right now, really, and that's the offer, the guidance that is basically available. So the 90-day holistic detox program, that's the main program that I offer. And also the individual support. So there also, like if someone would like a sort of consultation in terms of, you know, how to support the body, discuss kind of topics, that's also what I offer and what is available as well.
Perfect. And
where's the information for the cost of all these things, or do you want to
Well,
say how much?
yeah, I was going to say, I was going to ask Kasia to give all her contact details so people can contact her. Do you have the prices and things on your website, Kasia?
Yeah, all the prices are available on my website, and also a way of booking. It's always good to get in touch with me before, like if anyone wants to discuss more in detail, and then we can really just go through that. So my website is, I don't know if I can maybe put this
We'll put it on the video.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Every contact detail will be below the video on YouTube, so that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, so all the details are available there on my website, and that's really the best way to find out more, to learn more.
Perfect.
Excellent.
Lovely. Okay, well, thank you very much, Kasia. Another long call.
Yeah, yes. Thank you so much, Kasia and Karen, also for hosting. You were wonderful, both of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Arik.
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you,
everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Arik, and thank you all of you for co-creating this space and this wonderful experience.
Yes, thank you. What is the website? So where is the information?
Laurie, it's gonna be below the video. The video will be in the group. I'm going to upload it, and below the video you will find
later
all the
when you have the
information.
Yeah,
okay.
It'll be there tomorrow.
Okay,
Yeah,
I was looking in the chat. I thought maybe.
So no worries.
Yeah.
You will
And
find everything.
you can, if you want it quicker, you can go to the last Kasia video, and it's all under there, isn't it?
Oh yes,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, a few weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Fabulous.
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Bye.
much. Bye bye.
Bye
Bye bye. Thank you so much.